Before the roar of engines and the hum of tires, the prairie was traversed by a different kind of traveler. The Moose Jaw Trail, a rugged path carved by the hooves of horses and the First Nations people who had lived here for thousands of years, and then followed by the feet of determined pioneers, was the lifeblood of early Saskatchewan. Imagine a world without paved roads, where the journey was as much an adventure as a necessity. Settlers faced countless challenges. Treacherous mud, impassable rivers, and the relentless prairie wind were just a few of the obstacles they encountered. It was a journey that tested human endurance and the limits of horse-drawn transportation. Traveling the Moose Jaw Trail was no easy feat. Even for experienced travelers, the journey would have been a significant undertaking. Assuming regular stops for rest, meals, and sleep, it would have taken approximately 2 to 3 days on horseback. An ox-drawn wagon would have required 5 to 7 days to cover the distance. For those on foot, the journey could have taken over a week, and these estimates are based on favorable weather and trail conditions. Any unexpected challenges, such as inclement weather or difficult terrain, could have prolonged the journey significantly. In the 1880s, to facilitate agricultural settlement, the prairie provinces were divided into a grid system. Township and range lines, spaced 6 miles apart, formed the backbone of this layout. Within this grid, range road allowances that ran north-south were every mile, while township road allowances that ran east-west ran every 2 miles. Although not all road allowances were developed into actual roads, this system established the foundation for Saskatchewan's grid road network. The transformative power of the railway was about to change the face of the prairies forever. In 1890, the Qu'Appelle, Long Lake and Saskatchewan Railway Company reached Saskatoon, marking a pivotal moment in the city's history. While railways dominated transportation in the early decades, the rise of the automobile in the early 20th century increased the demand for road travel. As a result, heavily traveled grid roads began to be improved, forming the initial stages of a highway system. Early highways were constructed following the grid pattern, resulting in a road network with numerous turns. This approach created less direct routes compared to today's standards. As the volume of truck traffic increased in the 1920s, the need for wider and more robust roads became apparent. This period marked the emergence of a basic highway system. Imagine embarking on a journey from Saskatoon southwards in the roaring 20s. No sleek highways, no GPS, just a network of grid roads and a spirit of adventure. The trip we take for granted today was a formidable undertaking in those days. Almost all roads were unpaved, some not even graveled, so a heavy rain could turn the roads into mud pits. To begin your journey south, you would head east on 8th Street, passing what was then called the 8th Street Golf Course. Southeast of Sutherland, you'd cross the Canadian Pacific Railway tracks twice, following the same route of what was then Highway 14. Upon reaching Floral, the road splits, with Highway 14 going southeast and Highway 11 continuing southward. This stretch, today designated as Provincial Highway 663, reveals the early road builders' pragmatic approach. To minimize costs and construction time, roads often circumvented obstacles like lakes and sloughs. Passing what was then the Dundurn Forest Reserve to the west, the route veers towards Dundurn before turning south. To bypass Indy Lake, the road curves westward and southward, rejoining the route on what is now Highway 764 near Hanley. Continuing eastward past Hanley, the route turns southeast and then south to reach Kenaston. Interestingly, Kenaston was originally known as Bonington Springs, or simply Bonington, on early railway maps. In 1905, when Saskatchewan became a province, the town was renamed in honor of F.E. Kenaston, a prominent figure in the Saskatchewan Valley Land Company. Traveling southeast along the rail line, then east, then south, cutting west around Black Lake, the route reached Bladworth. After covering 6 miles, the road turns south again onto what is now Provincial Highway 653, leading to Davidson. The town of Davidson itself has an interesting history. Encouraged by the Canadian government, Colonel Andrew Duncan Davidson initiated a promotional campaign to attract American settlers to the area in 1902 with the Saskatchewan Valley Land Company. As part of this strategy in the town known then as Finsbury, several town streets were named after former U.S. presidents. Leaving Davidson, the route travels eastward for 2¼ miles before turning south to reach Girvan. From there, Another 7-mile journey southeast leads to Crake. The road then parallels the railway until travelers reached Aylesbury. Traveling on this dusty road south of Aylesbury, you'd go several miles south before turning left and heading into Chamberlain. To continue, travelers headed north to cross the Arm River, then connecting with today's Provincial Highway 733. From this point, a 16-mile eastward stretch, passing Dilk and then southwards, brings the journey to a point just east of Bethune. From Bethune, travelers would proceed eastward for 6 miles before turning south towards the present-day Highway 11. This route extended eastward until reaching a point north of Lumsden. Entering the town, past the Lumsden Cemetery, the road continued along James Street, crossing the Qu'Appelle River before exiting towards the southeast. After 12 miles, the journey connected with what is now Highway 6, leading directly south onto Albert Street. This arduous journey spanned over 322 kilometers, unlike today's 240 kilometers. Under ideal conditions in the 1920s, traveling at a speed of 80 kilometers per hour would still require over 4 hours. However, the reality of gravel or dirt roads necessitated significantly slower speeds. Navigating numerous turns on the grid system and slowing down for towns would extend travel time to an estimated 5 or 6 hours, possibly even longer in muddy conditions. Getting stuck in the mud was not uncommon in those days. Winter travel presented additional challenges, as many cars of that era lacked enclosed cabins or effective heating systems. The terms blacktop and pavement entered the common lexicon during the 1930s as the first hard-surfaced roads began to appear. However, the immediate priority for many areas was establishing well-graded gravel roads. In 1931, less than 3% of farms enjoyed the benefit of gravel road access, highlighting the significant challenges faced in developing the province's road infrastructure. By 1944, Saskatchewan boasted a mere 222 kilometers of paved roads, underscoring the vast scope of the task ahead. Recognizing the growing importance of efficient transportation, the provincial government prioritized the paving of Highway 11 in 1950. This ambitious project was completed by October 1952, transforming the driving experience. Embarking on a journey back to Saskatoon in the mid-1950s would be a significant improvement over the earlier decades. Beginning on Highway 6, heading north and then west towards Lumsden, travelers would follow a similar initial route. However, leaving Lumsden, a newly straightened path along 8th Avenue offered a more direct northwestward trajectory. Here, the old abandoned route of Highway 11 in northwest Lumsden is now simply called 8th Avenue. This alignment, paralleling the CN railway tracks, extended to Bethune, significantly shortening the overall travel distance. The highway now passed through Findlater, cutting off a huge detour, further enhancing efficiency and reducing travel time. In Chamberlain, the presence of the railway to the south and the Arm River Valley to the north presented ongoing challenges for road builders. The highway followed its current route through Main Street before paralleling the river valley for a distance. A significant deviation from the 1926 route was implemented west of Chamberlain, shortening the overall journey to Aylesbury. Upon reaching Aylesbury, the highway bypassed the town's main street, opting for a northern route before continuing towards Crake. In Crake, the highway was rerouted north of Railway Street to improve the alignment. At Girvan, further realignments created a straighter path that followed the railway tracks towards Davidson. While Davidson still experienced traffic on Railway Street, the road continued to parallel the tracks towards Bladworth. Both Bladworth and Kenaston still saw highway traffic passing through their main streets, using Front Street in each town. Between Kenaston and Hanley, the highway was again realigned to follow the railway tracks, eliminating a significant detour. Hanley itself still experienced highway traffic on Railway Street. A major transformation occurred after Hanley, where the highway veered north towards the southern end of Blackstrap Lake, crossing the valley on a route slightly different from today's alignment. Evidence of the old roadbed can still be seen when traveling both directions. This new path now bypassed Dundurn to the east, following the current Provincial Highway 663. Upon reaching Floral, the highway paralleled the CP railway tracks along what is now West Road before entering Saskatoon from the east via 8th Street. These realignments significantly reduced travel time, shortening the journey by nearly 60 kilometers. However, the necessity to slow down for towns along the route meant that the overall trip still took approximately 3.5 hours. The transformation of Highway 11 into a modern thoroughfare began in 1960 with the conversion of the Lumsden stretch into a 4-lane divided highway. This marked a significant improvement in safety and efficiency. The project to twin the remaining sections of the highway commenced in 1968 with the construction of a completely new route linking Saskatoon to Dundurn and connecting to the newly completed Cloverleaf interchange in Saskatoon. Although the new route saved travelers from slowing through towns, it was to the detriment of businesses in these towns due to reduced traffic. Phase by phase, the twinning process progressed, culminating in the completion of the final section between Craik and a point north of Davidson in late 1978. With the exception of a 3-kilometer 2-lane stretch through Chamberlain, the newly constructed 4-lane highway bypassed all intervening towns and villages, revolutionizing travel on Highway 11. In several towns along the route, the old single-lane highway was just left in place instead of being torn up, allowing Mother Nature to reclaim them. In 1926, the journey between Saskatchewan's 2 largest cities by car would have taken at least 5 hours under ideal conditions. This travel time was significantly reduced to 3.5 hours by the mid-1950s. Thanks to the modern alignment of Highway 11, the current journey can be completed in approximately 2.5 hours, or half the time it took 100 years ago. This dramatic reduction in travel time highlights the advancements in road infrastructure and transportation technology over the decades. On June 20, 2001, a significant milestone occurred when the entire length of Highway 11 from the capital city in the south to Prince Albert in the north was officially renamed the Riel Trail. This renaming ceremony took place at the Duck Lake Regional Interpretive Center. The Riel Trail holds historical significance, as it traces the route traveled by the RCMP and Louis Riel during the 1885 Northwest Rebellion. The initiative to rename Highway 11 was spearheaded by various organizations, including the Mid-Lakes Community Coalition, Saskatchewan Highway 11 Communities and Municipalities, the Saskatchewan Métis Nation, and the Saskatchewan History and Folklore Society. The Riel Trail is marked by distinctive signs featuring a red river cart on a blue background, symbolizing the Métis heritage and the historical significance of this route. This renaming also serves as a vital recognition of Métis culture and history in Saskatchewan, honoring the legacy of Louis Riel and the Métis people's contributions to the province. Here's a little bit of trivia for you. A section of Highway 11 is an example of one of the very few wrong-way concurrencies in North America, since highways in Canada are usually signed with assigned cardinal directions based on their primary orientation. As in, it's Highway 11 North when you're traveling to Saskatoon. It is possible for a stretch of roadway shared between 2 highways to be signed with conflicting, even opposite, cardinal directions in a wrong-way concurrency. Here, between Chamberlain and just northeast of Findlater, Highway 11 shares the route with Highway 2 for just over 11 kilometers. Here it's possible to be driving on both a northbound highway and a southbound highway at the very same time. From the rugged trails of the early pioneers to the modern divided highway, Highway 11 has played a vital role in the development of Saskatchewan. This journey through time has traced the evolution of a road from a simple path through the prairie to a vital transportation corridor. We've witnessed the challenges faced by early travelers, the gradual improvements in road construction, and the ultimate transformation into a high-speed artery connecting 2 major cities. Today, as we cruise along this well-paved route, it's essential to remember the countless hours of labor and engineering expertise that went into creating the highway we enjoy today.